Hey guys, this is my first video and I am going to be doing my summer wrap up. I've not got all the books that I've read this summer because that would just take me forever and the video would be like 20 minutes long and you would be super bored. So I'm just going to talk about the books that I've read most recently and the ones I have the most to say about, not necessarily my favourites but some that I felt were really lacking or were a bit poor. I'll start off with this one, which is Birdsong by Sebastian Faulks. This book is actually one of my AS books that I had to read over the summer. I did not enjoy this book entirely. I thought that it was slow in parts. I thought the first part was very quick and it kept moving and kept your interest, but as it progressed it got slower and slower and I completely lost interest in it. At the end, once I'd read it, and it took me about a week to get through because I just couldn't bring myself to pick it up. It is a very deep and moving novel. It reflects a lot on the war and how it has changed humanity and how you can't go back from something as dreadful as the Great War, and it intertwines love and war into this beautiful novel and the past and the present, and I just think that on reflection it was a really great novel, but whilst I was reading it, it was very slow, so it's kind of, I liked what I could take from it, but reading it, it was slow and it took a long time for him to get to the point and make these points that make you really reflect, so mixed feelings on that one. The next book I want to talk about is one that I've loved, and this is actually the series, the Divergent series. They are about a girl called Trish who is in a dystopian world and the society is split into 5 factions: Dauntless, Abnegation, Candor, Erudite and Amity. She has to choose between her family and the faction she really feels like she belongs to. It's basically all about her initiation in her faction that she chooses, I won't spoil it, about her friendships and relationships and eventually obviously the corruption of the dystopia and how she plays a part in discovering the corruption and also being the heroine of the novel and defeating the bad guys. These are great books. Some people think that the second one was a bit of a letdown in comparison to the first one, but I think that it was a great companion. It kept moving and it kept my interest. It wasn't as romantic as the first novel, but I thought it was more real and you really got a sense of the emotions of Trish, and I think you really sympathise with her more in this book for what she's gone through and what she is going through, and so I think it's a perfect companion even though it is not as exciting and as fast paced as the initiation, which was great in Divergent. And we now have to wait for autumn 2013 for the third one, and I'm not sure if I can wait that long. This is the last physical book I will talk about because the rest are on my Kindle. Is the Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer E. Smith, and I read this over 2 days. A girl meets boy and they meet in an airport and it's set over a 24-hour period. And going into this book, I expected a really romantic, witty, funny novel and I was really excited to read it. I thought it would be a really nice light summer read. It lacked a lot for me. I thought the characters were too bland. I didn't think they had enough about them. I thought that the author, Jennifer Smith, she used the fact that Oliver was British to automatically make him cute, and I just don't think that's enough, especially coming from Britain. Not everyone is cute. I mean, the Jeremy Kyle show shows you that he needed more wit or humour or just something else apart from the fact that he was British and then automatically cute. I thought that the conversations between them could have had a bit more something, and their connection, she was always talking about, you know, how it was fate or destiny or something like that, and I never got the sense that it was unrealistic. I thought that the fate element of it was done quite well, but the sense that they had this connection I never really got. There were times when they just sort of sat there and weren't talking, but you didn't get the sense that there was some electricity between them or something. It's a light read. I wouldn't recommend this. Moving on to books on the Kindle. I don't actually have the covers, so there's no point in even having this. Looking for Alaska by John Green. I liked this book. I think I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. I love John Green's writing, whatever he writes. I just love his style. I think it's original, and I think he quoted that something about condescending teenagers these days and how so many novels condescend teenagers and their intelligence, and I think that his writing really shows that teenagers are intelligent and we don't need to read books that are dull or just about a, you know, coming of age girl who goes to her first party or just really dull things like that. I just enjoy reading anything that he has written, and Looking for Alaska was not my favourite John Green novel. By the end of it, I'd really taken to all the characters. I thought they were funny and humorous, as in all John Green's novels, and I feel like anyone can relate to any character in a John Green novel because they are just your normal average teenagers, you know, trying to find their place. And also this had a new interesting aspect of the crime. It's a bit like a crime novel in a way, the sort of mystery, and obviously I won't spoil it, tell you what happens if you want to read it, but yeah, I would definitely recommend that book. The final book which I'm going to talk about is Anna and the French Kiss, and I don't have this book with me because I have lent it out to a friend. That book is amazing. I gave it 5 stars, and I just thought it was so refreshingly romantic. It was a light and fluffy read, and it just made me so happy after reading it. After reading something downbeat or a bit depressing, I think it's a great read. It's basically about this girl, and she goes to international school in Paris, and she's just moved there and she really doesn't want to go, but her dad makes her, and so she has to leave behind her friends and a potential boyfriend. But when she gets there, she realises that maybe Paris isn't so bad, and she meets new friends and a boy called Etienne who is gorgeous. I think that Stephanie Perkins did this novel beautifully. She had the humour of the characters, and both the female character and the male character were equally witty, and I think that's important because in a lot of novels I find that usually the male has all the humour and the wit, and sometimes the girl kind of lacks and is just, you know, falling into the arms of this magnificent boy, whereas in this novel I found that both of them were equally witty and humorous, and their conversations just made me laugh, and it was just so beautifully romantic. So yeah, if you're looking for a nice, light, refreshing read to lift your spirits up, then I definitely recommend Anna and the French Kiss. I read a few other books, Perks of Being a Wallflower, and read Something Like Normal by Trish Doller, I read Thoughtless by S.C Stephens. I read quite a few books. I just didn't have as much to say on those as well. That is my summer wrap up, and I will talk to you guys later.